Caffeine and coffee, could they cause carpal tunnel syndrome that starts from the neck and shoulder and goes all the way into the fingertips? Number one, that's not carpal tunnel. And a lot of people will try and make you believe it is, but it is definitely not. There's a problem going on above the carpal tunnel, because that is just this location right here. And you're having it from all the way up here, which means that the problem is likely starting here. All of the nerves that go into your fingers come from this section of the neck, which means that there's something compromised here. Number two, it's not likely that caffeine is causing those symptoms. It could be an elevation in blood pressure that's causing some inflammation in the carotid artery that is then putting pressure onto the nerves as they exit out, become part of the brachial plexus that go underneath the collarbone. But it's more likely that there's something going on in your neck specifically, and you should have that addressed. I would venture to say that, including my husband's grandmother, 90% of the carpal tunnels that I see as a surgery, post-surgical, symptoms are unresolved because it was never carpal tunnel to begin with. You can have compression of the nerve at the elbow. You can have compression of the nerve at the thoracic outlet, and I do see quite a few of those. And you can have compression of the nerve at the neck. So when we're looking at the whole human and we're trying to rule out what is causing the symptoms, just because someone has pain, tingling, and numbness when you tap here and it goes into the fingers doesn't mean it's carpal tunnel if you haven't ruled out pain also at the elbow, pain at thoracic outlet, pain at the neck. If I can recreate your symptoms with something above where the symptom is that is your main complaint, this is not the problem. The problem is somewhere else. So tests that you can do to see, is this carpal tunnel or is this something else? Please excuse my shorts today. I was not planning on coming into the office. If you are able to tuck your hand behind your back and stretch like this, with your head moving, tilting, not turning, tilting away from the hand that is having symptoms, and it creates your symptoms, it's probably coming from your neck. If that does not create your symptoms, but you, hold on, we gotta move. Put the hand on a wall like this and you turn away from it, and that creates your symptoms, it's probably thoracic outlet. If you are sitting at your desk and you notice that you're typing and the symptom seems to be getting worse, and you stretch like this and straighten out the elbow, and you get tension above the wrist, so tension through here, and it creates your symptoms, but your wrist is straight for the most part, it's a problem here. If you flex your elbow, notice the hand is fairly neutral, there's no strain on it, and that creates your symptoms, the problem is here. If you scrunch up your shoulders and try and get as much pressure off the thoracic outlet and as much pressure off of the neck, you hold the neck perfectly still, you turn the hand like this and stretch it, and then have somebody tap right here, and that creates your specific symptoms, and it's the only thing that creates your symptoms, that's carpal tunnel. If you get symptoms with all of those things, check the other side. And also, let's talk about doing a nerve test for your legs to see if it's systemic inflammation of your nervous system. This test is called the seated dural stretch test. You can do this sitting in your office chair. What you want to do is, again, tuck the hands behind your back, straighten out one leg, pull the toes back towards you. If you're already getting symptoms like a tingly sensation or feels overly stretched, this should not overstretch you. But if it has any kind of tingly feeling at all, feels like any kind of burning, we already have a problem. If this doesn't do it, but you slouch and that relieves tension or increases tension or moves the tension to a different spot, it's a nervous system problem. If you tuck your chin and that creates tension in that leg again, particularly if that tension is outside of the buttock and coming down and then goes behind the knee, into the calf, into the toes, then we have dural tension. If you start with your head tucked, slouch, straighten out the leg, and then lift the head and the symptoms all go away, it's nervous system inflammation. So if the entire nervous system is inflamed, what's going on? Nervous system inflammation can come from a lot of things, but what we typically see is there's lower vitamin D in these people. There's a lot of stress in their life. There's some not so great eating habits. They're in an environment that's very toxic and they need to address those toxins. There's typically either low cholesterol or very high cholesterol and a fasting insulin above 3. We'll also see that these people have trouble maintaining their blood sugar levels. They have some difficulty throughout the day managing their energy level, and they're reaching for a snack, something sugary or caffeine around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or they wish they could just go take a nap. These people are not what we consider metabolically stable. They tend to gain weight right here, as opposed to in their legs or in their arms. And I've even seen people who have absolutely stunning legs, but they've got this like right above their hip bones to right below the belly button, just a ring of fat. And they'll have this nerve tension. So how do you get rid of it? You can do what the traditional physical therapist tells you to do and do nerve glides. Is it going to help? A little. Could it irritate you further? Absolutely. And for most people, what the surgeon will say is, well, if you're doing these stretches and it's getting worse, it's definitely carpal tunnel. It's not definitely carpal tunnel. It's definitely an irritated nervous system. So what do I recommend doing? This is part of why I'm doing the 90-day reset the clock challenge, because it helps address toxins in the body. We've got to get the toxins out. You're in an environment where things are sprayed all the time. Cloud seeding is creating a lot of toxicity. The way that our foods are made, creating a lot of toxicity. The air you breathe, creating toxicity. If you're not sure about how bad your cell phones are and the toxicity that they're creating, or your earbuds, or the Wi-Fi in your house, look up the NPT study and how toxic it is for your health. We've got to detox your life, basically, and reset your metabolic health. That's how we're going to change this nerve tension and not have you end up in a road of continuous multiple surgeries that usually don't solve the problem anyway, and continuous chronic pain. So if you're ready to solve this issue of carpal tunnel / nerve tightness, nerve pain, and you're not sure where to start, there are links in my profile to book a free consultation.